So it's quite apparent living in the times that we do that no one really cares about Generation Alpha, or no one really cares as much as they should. All you hear about is Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, this, that, blah, 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 boomers, okay, boomer. And no one talks about Gen Alpha the way that they should, at least in my opinion. Now, everyone is hip to the fact that life as an adult right now is hard and only getting harder with inflation at an all-time high and wages not seeming to go up or with any plans on wages going up anytime soon. And that's definitely rough. I mean, nowadays you have more transactional friendships. No one's really looking to be in your presence unless they can get something from you, and no one's really here for just the vibe nowadays, as it seems, or at least social media would have you think that. You also have social media, the dead internet theory, not knowing if what you're seeing on any part of the internet is completely real anymore, with AI everywhere that you look. But all of that is a lot easier to get a grasp on when you're an adult. Like, I can't be the only one who's noticed that old generations have a hard time, and in fact, they barely even want to talk about how much easier they had it compared to younger generations and today's generations. I remember seeing those headlines go viral asking boomers how much they had paid for their house in comparison to how much they're willing and wanting to sell it for in today's time, 2026, 2025. And these astronomical numbers that they come up with back when they had to buy their house for a penny. They bought their cars for a penny. And they'll sit and tell you with a straight face that they had it hard and you need to pull yourself up by the bootstraps or else you're just a lazy person. And it's honestly ridiculous. I mean, I remember I had bought my car in 2020. I'm Gen Z myself. I was born in 2001. I remember I bought my car during peak pandemic times. I got it Halloween of 2020, and it cost me 12 grand when everything was said and done. And obviously, because I was 19 at the time, I didn't have 12 grand to shell out. I didn't have help with the car at all or anything like that. A lot of people are living good, and they have been living good off mommy and daddy's money for a long time. So that's another story entirely about how people could be disillusioned because they have all this help in current time, and they had help in the past too. Tons of people go into debt for college back when college used to cost less, cars used to cost less, homes used to cost less. And it's insane. I remember I bought my car and it was $12,000 when everything was said and done. My pops was born in the 60s, and that was one of the last generations who were able to buy new cars in high school outright, a brand new car. So I remember I had gotten a 2015, and it is 5 years old, and it still cost me 12 grand. And I'm being serious too. Like, I always get a kick out of people laughing and making fun of Gen Z for looking old when growing up, you didn't have to worry about flock cameras or data centers bulldozing down all of your nature hangout spots so that they could surveil you and watch your every move, amongst other things. I mean, it's genuinely terrible. All the food being poisoned, and I'm sure everyone, or mostly everyone who's chronically online, like I am, has seen this cyclospora virus going around where they're fear-mongering you to not eat fruit and whatnot. It genuinely gets crazy, and all I can think about is what it would rate in today's time and how hard that must be, The people who were growing up in the 90s still had a chance to actually interact with each other before all of the friendships became transactional. These Gen Alpha kids are growing up, that's why they call them iPad kids. They're growing up on the internet, they're barely being raised anymore. And it's it's so disheartening thinking about what these adults will end up becoming with such a rough upbringing, where you have headlines like teenage jobs don't even exist anymore because no one's hiring. I remember when I was 14, I could walk down the street and that was the main thing, was in-person applications. And I could sit down at a table in the lobby, write down my name, my social, everything that I'm doing, a handful of experience, months worth of experience on my dad's who's at what farm, you know what I mean? I'm being facetious, but you know what I mean. Like, and nowadays they'll immediately tell you to go apply online, like as if a kid has enough money to just have a computer. They expect you to have these things because that's the day and age that we're in right now. I remember learning in high school that more homeless people had access to phones than they did toilets. Like, can you even the quality of life for the homeless was different back in the day, where nowadays, if someone doesn't have food to offer you, they'll likely just go and get you Wendy's or some other high processed crap. And I'd be willing to bet that even that food was better for them back in the days. And I don't mean to go on that long rant, but genuinely, who is worrying for these kids? I don't see any headlines about how rough it is for Gen Alpha. And all my gut tells me to do is to look out for the kids around me. And I'm urging everyone to do the same. Because like I had mentioned earlier, it's just way easier to get a grasp on this as an adult. But to really make a long story short, look out for the kids around you. Know that you, more than 85%, had it easier than them growing up with everything that's going on in today's time. Teach them every skill that you can. Remember that we are the new elders, we are the new adults, and take care of Gen Alpha, man. Thank you.